We're here to deliver the facts, provide you with reporting, and give insight into the impact this could have on an organization that's hoping to contend for a championship.
And I know some of you are tired of me rehashing this story again, but just for once, please, I know there's more important stuff to talk about.
I really can't run, so can't run or jump. So
Media day was wild, it was hilarious, and who knew Danny Green was a Grizzly? Like, what? Apparently he was part of that trade for the Sixers to get Melton.
As expected, Daryl Morey moved out that number 23 overall pick to bring in a rotation guard in DeAnthony Melton.
Now, before we get to the meat of the video, we gotta rehash what we've already seen from Malika.
We are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
So yeah, she was cutting off Stephen A., saying stuff about him.
The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one.
But what really set people off wasn't she did it again with Kendrick Perkins.
But why are the other people getting left off the hook?
Well,
that's the problem that I have right now. Everybody got to be held accountable.
I think that we need to circle back to what Shanae said.
Because now more people are hating on her. There's been more videos surfacing of her, making questionable comments. And of course, I'll tell you all why this is all a distraction at the end of the video.
Without having all of the information, it is unfair and irresponsible of us to go and to speculate on that, because what we have to...
Well, I'm not speculating. Sure. I have the information. I'm not speculating.
But what we have to go...
The hate train that's been going on online around Malika, it's gotten so strong, people are considering, Shanae should be the host of NBA Today. No, bring back Rachel Nichols, bro. Honestly, that just makes me laugh. Now, Malika, she's been very accomplished as a sports broadcaster. She's been just on a meteoric rise, her and her sister as well. But now this may all come to a fault, because now we're seeing more and more questionable things from her.
They have right now, I think they're capable of making a run for a title.
Well, capable of making a run for a title. The Warriors?
Yeah. What?
All right. I mean,
interesting seeing that wasn't brought up back when they won a championship, but the Kendrick Perkins thing was. Also, it's my fault too. I didn't bring this up as well because I had no idea.
So you
Steph Curry,
all right,
Klay Thompson,
okay,
Draymond Green. I mean, Wiggins is.
And then in more recent news, when the Udoka situation was really taking heat, I mean, she said this before she even went at Stephen A. Smith. This is crazy.
Woj, you reported that Joe Mazzulla will be the interim head coach here. You can see his resume on your screen. He's been a Celtics assistant coach the last 3 seasons after spending the previous 3 seasons at Fairmount State. And he played for West Virginia between 2006 and 2011, and now could become the NBA's youngest head coach at 34 years old. And we'd be remiss not to also mention that Mazzulla was arrested twice at West Virginia, once in 2008 for underage drinking and aggravated assault. He pled guilty, paid a fine, and then again in 2009 for domestic battery after an incident at Morgantown Bar. The domestic battery case never went to trial. It was settled in August of 2009. He paid a $100 fine and court costs, plus had to do 40 hours of community service. Now, that was 13 years ago.
Then why are you mentioning it now? This makes no sense. Honestly, this is going to make it worse for the black man that, always gets stereotyped as being criminals.
He settled and paid both fines. So, Woj, why are the Celtics choosing him as their next head coach?
How did you manage to make Woj look more sane, look more professional?
Well, let's start with this. This is somebody whose character they really believe in, whose leadership they really believe in, and tactically, they think this is Joe Mazzulla has all the makings of a head coach in the NBA.
Now, this older clip that surfaced in my feed, I mean, this one hurt me deeply. Okay, the Lakers, they get eliminated from playing contention. Okay, at this point, ESPN just talking about what went wrong in LA. Matt Barnes alluding to the fact that, they may not have had a figure like Kobe in their midst.
And when you look at that, you look at someone like a possibly Kobe Bryant when I've seen him personally get in people's face and just cuss them out to their damn near in tears, and they're grown men. You know, Michael Jordan probably would have been fighting his teammates if he had to see some of the stuff that these guys do. So I feel like what makes LeBron great, he's always been knocked, oh, he's not a killer. He'll make the right pass, and I've always loved that. But I also think sometimes that hurts him because, not saying I've never had him as a leader, and I'm sure he has his ways of particularly leading this team. But I know for a fact if the two guys that I mentioned before saw some of the effort and energy that he saw from his teammates this year, it would have been an issue.
I mean, when Kobe, Dwight, and Nash all had injuries, though, they didn't win a playoff game.
They got to the playoffs, though.
But they didn't win a game. Neither did this Lakers team. The year 19, when he was averaging 22 on 37% shooting, Kobe did. The Lakers, they went 10 and 25 in the games that he played in. So I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Matt, but I'm not so sure it's well, Kobe Bryant would have been the white horse to fix
No, I'm definitely not saying that. But
yo, what got into her head for her to think this was okay to say? First off, there's so much BS we have to dispel. She brought up his 19th year as though Kobe wasn't dealing with injuries, and him having played with no Hall of Fame or All-Star level players like LeBron did in his 19th year. Are we doing this right now? Are we really about to do this now? Matt Barnes, okay, he goes way back with Kobe to where there was a little scuffle here in the game.
Matt Barnes and Kobe Bryant say hello to each other.
Yeah, this game, I mean, interesting game. They gave this a double tech, by the way. Two guys going at it, and Matt Barnes really shouldn't have got the tech.
You see, here's my problem taking a look at that. That's not a double technical foul. That's a technical foul on Matt Barnes afterwards coming toward.
Honestly, I'd say this is a play on. Even Jeff agrees with me.
That's nothing, by the way. That's just, and this is nothing, by the way. That's just body contact until Barnes comes at it. But
yeah, basically they were going at it, both Barnes and Bryant. I mean, look at this dunk right here. And at one point, Barnes tried to intimidate Kobe.
See, I mean, why are they running into each other? Why is Matt Barnes doing that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he thinks he can entice Kobe Bryant to get in front.
And he fakes the ball. I mean, somebody in a Magic uniform, or even if I'm Stan Van Gundy, I consider maybe pulling Matt Barnes out and having a discussion with him, because at the end of the day, we need you on the floor. You're not going to get into the head of Kobe Bryant.
When you have a pillow fight and somebody fakes a pillow at you, don't you at least flinch? Kobe Bryant, that's the play of the game. He didn't even flinch.
I'm telling you, when people think of Matt Barnes and Kobe, they think of that play in particular.
One thing about Kobe is he's obviously physically gifted, but his mental approach to it is second to none. So he'll do all kinds of stuff to mentally fuck with you without saying a word. Grabbing you, elbowing you, cheap shotting you, just sneaky veteran shit that Kobe can get away with. And it just got to the point where they kept calling me for stuff, and it was really, I was kind of, doing something. I was retaliating most of the time, and I would get called. So it just came to a point where I'm like, fuck basketball, we're about to fight. You know what I mean? That's where kind of my mental state it got.
Kobe was in this guy's head so much. He played victim years later.
What I'm saying is Kobe would get in, he would not let the way some of his teammates play.
Get in someone's face and it doesn't turn into wins, then you're just getting in somebody's face.
Oh man, there's so much wrong there. I mean, I'm convinced she just hates Kobe with a living passion because, come on, with Howard and Nash, 2013? I mean, obviously, the Lakers in 2022 had a 6-18 record after the All-Star break. The Lakers with Nash, Kobe, and Howard had a 20-8 record, and that was primarily because of Kobe. And I honestly think at one point in my career, I'm going to do a video just breaking down just how amazing this carry job was. I mean, obviously, she said, oh, he made the playoffs, but he didn't win a game, just like the Lakers didn't win a game. He was injured. He couldn't play in those playoff games. The reason why they even made the playoffs was because of how good he was in the last stretch of the NBA season. And Kobe Bryant, there was no doubt he was the best player.
Clock, shot clock. Bryant to the rim, slam dunk.
LeBron having better players around him. I mean, just listen to this fact here.
Well, here's a little fun fact for you when you go to the bar and order a double. The Lakers are 21-22 when LeBron James plays this year. They're a losing team with LeBron James, despite LeBron James out there scoring 29 points a game.
I'm sure a lot of you would say AD and Westbrook are better than Howard and Nash, and that LeBron is better than Kobe. Well, then why the hell did Kobe have a better record than LeBron James when playing for the Lakers that season? What's going on here, bro? What are we doing right now? Okay, this is not to put down LeBron James, but let's be honest right now. The mid from Akron, he did not deliver for his team, and we got to admit that.
We see the two teams that were picked as the co-favorites, the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers, coming into this season. I'm starting to think that maybe that is not the model anymore in the NBA and how to build a championship team. Look at the teams that are winning right now. The Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker is a bona fide superstar. So is Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton is on his way up.
I'm not even sure if Ayton would agree with that.
How have you and Monty kind of been able to move?
I haven't spoken to Monty. No, I haven't spoken to him at all. Ever since the game.
Now we've seen Malika cut people off, right? But how about her not even letting someone speak?
This is the collapse of the star system in the NBA right
Well, and you heard what Devin Booker said to Dave McMenamin. Hang on, Perk. You heard what Devin Booker said to Dave McMenamin.
And I know people have talked about how, these two are dating. They're both employees of ESPN. Why are they talking about this? Guys, the power dynamic is not the same here. And also, please don't make it a race thing, guys.
He said that it felt a little extra sweet because remember what Anthony Davis said just a little while ago, that the Suns know that they got lucky. So I'm kind of over this. I can finally say we're done. The Lakers are done.
You know, one thing that I do find concerning, and this is me speaking as a black man, so maybe I'm biased, but every time she has something negative to say in this video, it's always been towards black men.
You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this.
Now, I'm not going to go and say, that's why she's dating a white man. Let's not play these games, okay? It's just a pattern I noticed. And one thing that I find interesting is looking at how Rachel Nichols got fired, right? I mean, you remember when she got fired. I mean, she got exposed, the audio leaked of her talking about Maria Taylor basically being a token black girl.
Former ESPN host Jamel Hill.
We get a little tired of somebody insinuating that the reason that we have a job is because we're black. You know, that gets very tiresome.
And of course, that made her look horrible. She had to apologize later on. And of course, she got booted. Okay, not just from the finals like ESPN said in this statement. During the regular season, 2021-22, she wasn't even on. The jump was canceled. It was done. Now, Malika, do I think she's going to get fired because of all the hate that she's getting? No, of course not. In fact, it might embolden ESPN to keep her long term. If we're going to talk about anything, ruining or staining her career, it should be this. I've had a problem with her since 2019 when she was at the presser, when Giannis got eliminated by the Raptors, right, to make the finals, and he lost. And of course, she wrote an article right after they lost, basically implying that Giannis was about to leave Milwaukee if he didn't make the finals. And Giannis, I think, gave the best response to her.
At this point, sometimes it takes experience. I'm wondering if now that you have some of that experience, if you see more validity to that point, or what you think about that now that you've gone through it.
Now, I do feel bad for my boy Middleton right there. He just got left cold right there. Now, the quotes that she had from this article is interesting. She said here, in more concrete terms, a source close to Giannis said that getting to the NBA Finals is not just an ambition. It could tip the scales as he weighs his contractual future.
And when I asked a source close to him to put into terms, what is winning?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Right?
What is the line? He said what could potentially tip the scales in Milwaukee's favor is an NBA Finals appearance. Now, they fell short of that this last year. And so now, with this new landscape of the NBA, the East wide open, I expect that to be important to Giannis as he's moving forward and making those sorts of decisions.
During that season, Malika was covering the Bucks. So I'm pretty sure Giannis, when he seen the article, he felt backstabbed by her. And I'm pretty sure Curry felt the same way with her sister, Kendrick Andrews, when, she went in on air and said this.
Malika, I also asked Stephen Curry what the plan was tonight, and he just turned around and looked at me and said, whoop that trick. That is our game plan.
Oh, my goodness. Taking their own catchphrase and putting it back. Thank you so much, Kendra. I really appreciate the time.
And I talked about this in a previous video where Iguodala actually confirmed that this is not real.
Yeah, on another person's life. That happened to us in the Memphis series. Somebody misreported something on the faces of our league, and it hurt me because it's like, now we got to look at you like you're an outsider, and they're going to say it's not right, and why you got to do this person like that. But it's no, you false reported something. There's consequences and repercussions to all our actions, even when we make mistakes. Well, it applies to y'all too.
Yeah. I mean, just look at how Curry looked at her during the finals when she was asking him a question.
Kendra in the front.
Following up on that stuff,
throughout your other finals runs, you, Draymond, Clay, were clearly leaders of this team, but you guys didn't have that generational gap between you and the rest of your teammates. Does the leadership response...
Someone that's familiar with Curry pressers, does he do that face often? I doubt it. I think he did that face because he knew who she was and he knew what she did. But I'll back off a little. This is just speculation at this point. Let's get to the next topic.
I understand the dissonance between why did Robert Sarver get a 1-year suspension for all the stuff that he did, we've been talking about all week, and why does a head coach get the same length suspension for what is being described as a consensual relationship? I understand the outrage, I understand the criticism, I understand all that.
This story, Malika, this whole Udoka stuff, a lot of it is a distraction for what we really should be covering here.
On so many occasions, the black athlete laments the fact that the slightest thing that happens, they're paraded all over the news and all over the airwaves.
This was a story that not many media outlets picked up on.
I certainly haven't heard too many people in the profession that I know, that I have seen talking on a plethora of issues over the years, say anything about Brett Favre.
More channels, more media outlets should pick up on this story, right? And I'll just let Molly summarize the key details of this story.
An investigative report by Mississippi Today revealed Tuesday that former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant helped former NFL quarterback Brett Favre obtain welfare funds in order to help build a new volleyball center at the University of Southern Mississippi. Favre's daughter played volleyball at Southern Miss, which also is where Favre was a star quarterback. State auditors determined nonprofit leaders misspent at least $77 million in welfare funds in the largest case of public fraud in Mississippi history. The tech show Favre, Nancy New, and Phil Bryant discussing how to divert at least $5 million in welfare funds to build a volleyball stadium.
So forgive me if it appears like I'm ignoring the Brett Favre situation. No. That's the real story. That's the story that we really need to talk about. That's the story that needs to be covered more. And I've seen people say, just make a video about it on its own. And to that I say, look, I tried to look into it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of politics involved. And obviously, this is starting to get above my pay grade, okay? I won't be able to do it justice, I think. So again, my apologies if you don't think that's good enough for my end.